Donald Trump's sentencing and his hush money case has been formally postponed following the Supreme Court's ruling on presidential immunity.
Yes, you heard that right. Now let's be clear about what that is. It's not that the January 6th case is being delayed. That's already being delayed. It's not that the other big election ones, like Fulton County, is being delayed, although that is also being delayed. We're not talking about any of the other big ticket Trump prosecutions, like the classified documents being delayed, although that is also being delayed. No, this is the one that he has already been found guilty of. The one where he paid hush money payments to an adult film star to influence the result of the 2016 election. That one is being delayed. The one that the jury's already said he did it. We now don't know what's gonna happen with that because the Supreme Court decided that he should be king as a treat. Here is what Judge Juan Marchand put out as a statement. The July 11th sentencing date is vacated. Remember, it was supposed to happen about 4 days before the beginning of the RNC, which we'll be broadcasting live from. The court's decision will be rendered off calendar on September 6th, and the matter is adjourned to September 18th for the imposition of the sentence, which seems to imply that there's about a 12-day period where they'll know what the sentence is, but they're not gonna tell us for some reason. That seems weird. Then you'll have the imposition of the sentence if such is still necessary or other proceedings. And so much is encapsulated inside of just that. If such is still necessary, like any sentence at all, any penalty at all for the thing that he did, we already know that he did it. We went through the whole trial. The jury has already convicted him of it. Now, there may be no penalties whatsoever for his private paying off to cover up an affair 8 years ago. Because the Supreme Court decided that there should be no bounds to his power.
The video will continue in just a moment, but first I have a message for you. TYT needs your help. Membership is vital to survival, so please go to tyt.com/team and become a member today.
And who knows, maybe paying off an adult film star is sort of a core constitutional part of the presidency from here on out. It's just like he has to have total freedom from that, or how could he possibly be president? So I know, look, I'm obviously a little bit frustrated by this, Sharon, but what do you make of this? That even this one, which we already did, is going to be delayed or possibly dissolved entirely. I mean, it's already delayed.
I want us to never use the phrase equal justice under the law again, because it's a lie. And I would rather, there's this thing with the cat and the mouse, is let the mouse go. Just get rid of all this stuff. We all know which way it's going. I'm somebody who will never give up. I wave the white flag. It is true. Donald Trump, it is not in his future to ever be held accountable for anything. So why don't we just admit that? Okay, if you want to say equal justice under the law, except for Donald Trump, I think there's some other people too, but I'd be even cool with that. But come on, it's a wrap.
Well, to be clear, and I want to focus on this, so we have some comments. So Ghost Dog says, you're confusing the issue in the case that he's being sentenced for. Immunity won't apply because it was campaign business, not an official presidential act. No, but the issue is that they will say that it is an official act because the payments happened while he was president. Now, you and I can agree that what possible relationship could this have to anything that's official, but you and I, at least as of right now, and the situation could change, are not wearing black robes and we don't sit on the Supreme Court. And what is an official act? Well, you can't go to the decision to find out because they're not interested in really defining it. It's whatever the hell they want it to be. Let's be very clear about that. And people are doing a lot of throwing around of hypotheticals about Trump, hypotheticals also about Biden. Like, oh yeah, you like this right wingers? Well, Biden's got it too. Maybe he's got it if the Supreme Court decides, because they can easily judge that any number of insane things that have nothing to do with the Constitution or the executive branch are official acts when it's a Republican. And they can equally decide that anything they want to get Joe Biden for isn't an official act. So for instance, they've talked about hauling him out of the White House because of the border invasion. Okay, well, you might say, well, okay, obviously he can do whatever he wants with the border. I mean, they would say that securing the border is part of being commander in chief. Yeah, but they'll say that he actually wasn't doing that. He was betraying his duty to the Constitution and do it. Like, you see the games that we can play and that they will be playing for years. They're saying that the fake electors scheme was an official act. Like that's their official legal argument now, is that the fake electors, that's just a presidential thing that you have to do. So I am speculating kind of, but not that much. They're already doing this right now. And so they're attempting to dissolve all of these cases. I mentioned the classified documents one. What possible protection could he have for something that he did and continued to do after he was president? Well, they were documents while he was president. They are now claiming that that had to do with official acts, and they will do that for literally all of these. And so, Jack Smith says that they're still going to pursue the Trump cases past election day, even if he wins. Okay, I guess I'm glad. I don't know if that means even after he wins, but before he's inaugurated, because once he's inaugurated, gone. It's gone. And even if it's not gone, it is looking incredibly unlikely that any of these could actually apply to him in a way that has real consequences. And all this is insane, and you are right to be mad, but you should be mad at the Supreme Court and at the right wing, but the system and the individuals that produce this Supreme Court, because that is what they have made. And I'm just trying to get everyone used to the idea. But Sharon, what do you think?
I think you're exactly right. And don't forget, they also said that you can't use any evidence that happened presumably while he was in office. Even I thought like if you were committing a crime, that was like an exception, but apparently not. So, I get it, but you saw what the judge said in that hush money case. It's we got to postpone this thing. If it's even necessary, we'll proceed. So, I mean, this is what they've done. They've gutted it. They got together. It's to the point now where I believe that members of the Supreme Court very likely were on a party line with people that they're not supposed to be on the party line with, saying, "We want us to do this. How about if we thread the needle this way? I'm already twisted into some kind of yoga pretzel, but I'm happy to do it. We'll just make it up as we go." And then there's Amy Coney Barrett, okay, who wants to have it both ways and preserve her place in history. Well, I kind of agree. I kind of don't agree. And it's just like,
yeah.
This is criminal. What they're doing is criminal.
Yeah, 100%. And again, like the official act thing, you remember, they just said that storming the Capitol to stop the certification of the vote does not count as obstructing the certification of the vote because they didn't touch the paper. They said it was to do that. It did do that, not permanently like they would have hoped, but briefly. And they said that doesn't count. Because again, there are no standards. I was talking about before the show about like people like, oh, what does this signal about the new stance of the Supreme Court on that? No, it's whatever they want. They are not bound by any precedent. They're not bound by the Constitution. They're not bound by their prior comments about this specific thing. Maybe on Friday on the show we'll go into it. But people have been going back through the prior writings of the justices and what they said during their nominating hearings, and almost every one of them is on the record over and over and over. No man is above the law. The president is not a king. The president is not above the law. Okay, they said that. They said that to get in, because again, you say and believe and do whatever you need to say, believe, or do to get what you want right now. And you do the exact opposite thing if necessary 5 seconds later to get exactly what you want right then. And you apply one standard to yourself and another standard to another person, and maybe a different standard to yourself tomorrow. It's whatever it needs to be, whenever it needs to be it, wherever it needs to be it to get what you want. There are no values, there is no ideology, there's no philosophy. There is only getting what they want in every situation. And that applies to the individuals, it applies to the media, it applies to the politicians, and it applies to the court. That's what it is. And I know it's hard to grapple with that because everybody watching the show thinks of themselves as having values and an ideology. You know how like we care about hypocrisy and all that stuff? Yeah, we do that. They're not doing that. They're not even pretending to do that in public anymore. So just prep yourself. Thanks for watching our video. Did you know that you can support our show by becoming a subscriber? Just click the subscribe button and also ring the bell so that you get notifications when we're live or when we post new content.